Hello and welcome back to my channel, and we rejoin our characters in the depths of Dunmorna. They have just completed an amicable exchange encounter with a friendly little group of halflings. They were under the leadership of their leader Tobin Briarfoot. Were in a desperate mission to recover a treasured item of halfling lore, lost in the terrible times when the Empire ruled over this land. The Hearthstone, taken, ripped from their community, and brought back by the evil sorceress Callistra and her legions, her demonic legions, back to the lost palace, and then lost for centuries after the catastrophe that befall the empire and the explosion of the volcano in the Wizards' War, which we have come to know as the event. So that was all the kind of backstory to quite an exciting little encounter. We didn't come to any blows. We didn't really expect that to be the case between civilized creatures. However, anything's possible in these situations. You know, we are kind of ruled by these guys here, and you know, it wasn't just a straightforward yeah, slam dunk, we're going to be friends. It just so happened that the dice were favourable, and through Dagobert's astute awareness of how to deal with the small folk and not the little people. Now, Ariaden, maybe he's getting a bit of a bash just now. I think he will shine later on. He's obviously, with a charisma of 16, you know, if we think of all the charismas that we've come across in our game world so far, we've had Callistra, I think she had a charisma of 17. And you know what Callistra's... no, not Callistra. I'm getting Callistra mixed. Kayla was our level 8 magic user, enchantress, with her beguiling, amazing looks, and she gave off this this amazing aura. So she had a charisma of 17, and we reckon that Lord Seward's got a charisma of 18. He just radiates leadership. So you know, Anarian's not that far off. So he's probably a good-looking fellow. He's probably quite. He's got steely eyes. He's got that kind of command in his voice, his timbre of his voice. I think as we've said last episode, with a bit of schooling, and getting him plugged back into civilization, we could have potential for. I wouldn't say maybe party leader, because I think Dagobert is doing a grand job there, but maybe spokesman in certain occasions. Okay, so let's get back to the situation in hand, and we are in this room here in Dunmorna. We had completed, I'll just get my little time reckoner. We had completed the search of this area, and we are up to the second hour. We just finished mapping. We'd done 2 treasure rolls on our treasure table, and even with the enhancement of +10, we came up with Tristan's favourite, both times, 2,000 silver pieces. So I had alluded to the fact that I might have something up a cunning plan to deal with this result. So if we just look at our Dungeon Master's Guide and the offending table that is causing us all this mischief when it comes to basically lumps. You know, they are precious, you know, silver. You know, it's fantastically precious. You know, if that was 1,000 silver pieces lying around for us to pick up in our world, we would probably be doing cartwheels and somersaults and all sorts of stuff, because that would be worth a lot of money. However, with the inflationary spiral that's going on in, it's not like the 1970s or something. This doesn't really amount to much. It's just a big lump of metal that we've got to kind of lug around. So we've got. I thought there was two fending items here, and as I say, in normal terms, this is fine. But 1,000 copper pieces per level, and 1,000 silver pieces per level. And I thought, well, anything above that, it's okay. We can live with the 750 electrum pieces per level, because that's a basically 1 to 2 type conversion. That's worth a lot of money. That's 375 gold pieces. It's a bit heavier to carry, but, fair enough. So I thought, let's keep all this element of the table as is, because this is quite interesting when it gets into, we haven't had platinum pieces, but, who's to say that we don't get that at some stage? And the gold piece is great, So I don't have a problem at all. What I want to do is maybe just try to jazz up these two items here, and not just have that depressing Tristan every time we get it. He's already got, if you remember, we've got 1,000 silver pieces back in the magic pill room, and he was almost tempted to throw it in the water. He was kind of held back, saying, "Don't do it, Tristan. It's not worth it." So I think he's a bit depressed with the 1,000 silver pieces. So I have come to Tristan's aid. I have got a little neat solution that I have devised, and it is called, I call it my alternative minor treasure table. Ooh. Coming to a cinema near you. So this is what it's all about. For any results of 1,000 copper pieces or 1,000 silver pieces, roll on this table. Okay. They have a value equivalent to the equivalent amount in gold pieces. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to use this table to convert our silver pieces and our copper pieces into something more tangible and more portable for our characters. And it's not going to happen in every case, but it's going to happen in most cases. So I'll just, I think I've just been a bit clumsy with the way I've written that. Value of 1,000 copper pieces is 100 silver pieces, and the value of 1,000 silver pieces is 50 gold pieces. So for items generated in this table, these need to be sold via the negotiation mechanic to obtain their value as experience points. So this is the downside. That we've got an item, say, that we've generated, but not the silver pieces. We've got to try to sell it, and the usual discount begins at 20%. Now I think there is a money changing expense that we already have to bear on of 3%. I think on. Say we had to turn those silver pieces, the 1,000 silver pieces, into gold pieces for experience. I think we have to pay a 3% charge. I just can't remember. I think we had to do that for the electrum when we had to convert it. So there's a 3% charge on non-gold to convert it into what would be classified as experience points. But for the purposes of this exercise, if we turn it into an item, we might have potentially a 20% hit on our net amount. We might be able to minimize that to between 10 and maybe even get face value if we have a good negotiation. But that's the downside to this. There really has to be. I can't just kind of give out nice portable whatever. Let me explain, in a bit more detail and kind of illustrate what I'm talking about, what's going to happen. So we'll roll a percentage dice. So for that first 1,000 silver pieces, I'll roll a percentage dice, and on a 1 to 10, we'll keep the results as rolled. So if I roll a 10, we stick with the 1,000 silver pieces. Okay. If I roll 11 to 30, we go to a higher denomination of coins. So copper pieces become silver pieces and silver pieces become gold pieces. So instead of having 1,000 silver pieces in a pot, we will have 50 gold pieces. So much more transportable. We can just put it in our sack, and then, that's it. Good. 31 to 55, we roll on the miscellaneous utensils and personal items table. Now, I'm saying that we might have more valuable items. We almost like convert the silver pieces into a utensil or a personal item. And if I get any nonsensical results, I re-roll on the clothing and footwear table. So that's to represent luxury or valuable clothing items. So the tables I am talking about are the ones at the back where these are ones for dungeon dressing. And they're an appendix. I think is it H, I, or H? Yeah, it's these ones here. And the first one is miscellaneous utensils and personal items. Now, if I get something crazy on this, say like a grater, we're not going to have a 50 gold piece grater. So I'll just re-roll on this table, clothing and footwear, and I might get, say, a dress. So we get this amazing, beautiful, it's made of fantastic materials, dress. We still have to do all the checks for whether it's in containers. It's probably stored in a chest, say, so it's kept pristine, or at least it's not destroyed in these sort of dungeon conditions. So as far as I'm concerned, it's still the 1,000 silver pieces. It's just getting converted into something either a bit more portable, or it's just a bit more interesting than 1,000 silver pieces. Like a very expensive dress. That sounds far more interesting than just a lump of 1,000 silver pieces in an urn. So that's the first table, the first item, and as I said here, the value equal to the equivalent amount in gold pieces. So we'd have a dress worth, say if it was a dress we'd calculated or generated, it'd be worth 50 gold pieces. And if we went to Thidebert's and tried to sell that dress, he would be coming in at a basis where he would take 20% off that automatically, and we'd have to negotiate either up or down what we got from it. And that's what our gold pieces would be in our experience points at the end of the day. The next category, I've got roll on the jewelry and items typically bejeweled table, which is a bit of a mouthful, but that's what it actually says here. And we might get something like any of these, like a choker, collar, coronet, pendant, that type of thing, which is more your traditional type of item. So that's why in this table here, I wanted to give a bit of almost like a kind of escape from something that was a bit silly, like a shaker. Or thongs or something. You're not going to have 50 gold piece thongs, but you might have clothing that's worth. So between the two of these, we should be able to get something sensible, and this should be sensible every time. We should be able to get something, like a comb that's very expensive. It's made of made of silver or made of gold, and it's fine crafting. It's that kind of thing. And then the final one, which I thought, oh come on, let's have a bit of kind of bit of spice, and if so that we can cheer ourselves up a bit. If we get 81 to 100, we roll on what I call my special items table. And I think everyone deserves a little special items table. And remember, these items aren't, we're not talking about thousands and thousands of gold pieces, and they're not magic. They're not magic items. They are just high value, probably luxury end, either rare or they're viewed as valuable or special. They're maybe of very high craftsmanship and quality. And we've been lucky enough to find them in our dungeon and not have to put up with 1,000 silver pieces. So I have items like, say, a masterwork dagger, So it's exceptionally well balanced and sharp. An unusual metal sword, and this is forged from a rare dark metal such as meteoric iron. It's got a distinctive look and it might be highly prized. Balanced throwing axes, set of 3, crafted for accuracy with weighted heads. A sturdy staff with a hidden compartment made of strong wood. The compartment could hold small scrolls or other items. Thieves' tools of superior quality. A holy symbol of silver with minor inscriptions. Druidic focus of carved oak and mistletoe. This is beautifully crafted focus that feels particularly attuned to nature. A bardic lute. This is Rovin would be absolutely cock-a-hoot with this, with the bardic lute. Sorry, Ronan. Is it Ronan? Yeah, Ronan. would be really happy with this. It's got silver inlay. It produces exceptionally clear and resonant tones. What else have we got? We've got a small silver censer. We've got an ancient prayer beads made of polished stones, a holy text, which is a fragment from a sacred book. And then some of these do hint to the fact that they might have holding forgotten lore, and we might be able to give that information back to Seaward and use our knowledge mechanic to maybe generate some interest in that. And, someone like the Lore Master Rubicus, he might be very interested in that type of thing. Fragments of an ancient banner with faded symbols, an ancient coin, a crossbow with an intricately carved stock, a ranger's well camouflaged cloak. Anarian's probably already got something like that, but here's another one. A small silver chalice used in local rituals. A scroll, here's a valuable one. Scroll case made of treated leather that protects against moisture and mildew, ensures the preservation of valuable scrolls. A signet ring bearing the crest of a fallen noble house, a well-polished crystal orb, and a tapestry made of fine cloth. So nothing is, it's not going to rock the universe, this. It's just some tasty little rewards to maybe spice up an otherwise lackluster 1,000 silver pieces. It's like being in the Eurovision Song Contest and they get nul point. We could get something reasonably interesting and valuable out of it. So that all being said, and me spending ages going into it, let's just use this mechanic for our items. So we had 2. We had our in fact, I'll use my new. I got my new pad because I thought I was complaining about the fact that I didn't have enough space on the in the surface. So I thought, well, if I get a smaller pad, that's the solution. So treasure, and we've got 2 items, and they're worth. First one's worth 1,000 silver pieces, and the second one is worth 1,000 silver pieces. So we will do item 1. And we will get our percentage dice out, and we will re-roll. What is the 1,000 silver pieces going to convert into on my little special table? So we get a 66. So on the little special table, that is, we roll on the jewelry and items, typically bejeweled table. Hurrah! So let's get our items typically bejeweled table. Here it is on page 219. So let's find out what exactly we've got here. So we have a 9, which is a belt. Okay, so basically we've got a 50 gold piece belt that we can belt. Okay, right, that's all we have to do on that one just now. And item 2, we will get our percentage dice out and check our table, what we're going to get. So what we're going to get on this, we get our 23. So the 23 is a higher denomination of coins. So there are 50 gold pieces. So that's a better result. So the belt is on face value worth 50 gold pieces. and we actually have 50 gold pieces. So, for items generated, these need to be sold at a negotiation mechanic to obtain their value for experience points. And also, items and coins generated are still rolled for being held in containers, guarded and hidden. So, we have this belt and we have these gold coins, but we have to still roll as we would the 1,000 silver pieces. What are they held in? And there is a chance that they are either guarded or they are hidden. So if we go to our Appendix A and find out what the nature of the containment is. So the treasures are contained in, so let's do it for the belt first and find out if the belt is contained in something. We have to get our D20 for that. Okay, so the belt. The belt is 20, it's loose. It's just lying about. That makes sense. It's loose. In that case, it's probably not going to be guarded. We did have something loose before and we thought there might be a chance. So let's do a 1 in 10 that it is guarded or hidden, or they're hidden by. So it isn't. So we find as we are searching this room and doing a detailed inventory of the different kind of mapping out the area and spending that 3 turns doing quite a detailed examination, we find a belt on the floor. It looks of very high quality. Maybe it's got some little jewels in it that are glinting, and that's what we've seen in the light. We think, this is worth something. It's a bit like playing Hero Quest and you get the treasure card and it says like you find in the dirt 50 gold pieces or something. You know, it's not a massive amount. It's not like a whopping 200, 300 gold pieces and whatever, but it's a nice little thing. So we've got a belt. It was found on the paving stones and in amongst all the debris. We can add that into our inventory, and then the 50 gold pieces, we will get our D20 and find out what they are contained in, and they are contained in a stone container. So a stone container, and let's see if this is guarded with a 1 in 10. Or was it a 1 in 20? So I'm trying to do a 1 in 20. I think it's a 1 in 10, I decided, yeah. Yeah, it was a 1 in 10. So no, it's not guarded. Tristan, as a matter of course, he has been quite careful with these type of items. So he says, look at this. I found this container. It's under this pile of rubbish. And he brings it out and he says, just wait a second before I open it. And he does his thing where he's kind of, he's feeling over for cracks and any kind of just strange irregularities with it. And he says, I think it's okay. He opens it and he goes, oh, well, look inside here. There's 50 gold pieces. It's not 1,000 silver pieces. You know, I don't feel depressed anymore. This is so. You know, his face lights up. You know, almost like the room lights up. Everyone's happy. We have got a nice little hoard, which is better than you know, Tristan running back through to the well room, throwing it into the magic pool, and the place probably exploding. We've got potentially 100 gold pieces. We will realize the 50 because that is specie in old term as actual currency, but we'll have to sell this, or maybe even keep it as a nice belt for us to swagger around town. Nice something to show off in the Green Dragon. Okay, so that concludes our little escapade in there. I did as a help for me, I did a little chart which has got a kind of aide memoire to some of the things that we do on a regular basis. And I just noted down things like, based on a standard 9-inch move, to move 90-foot mapping, it takes a turn, and to map a 90, to move on in 90 feet in a mapped area that we've already mapped, it takes us 2 rounds to do. So for navigating rounds, this is the kind of measures that we can use. Resting while exploring is once every 6 turns. A wandering monster check is once every 6 turns. Now, I when I was doing this, I thought, this is almost happening at the same time. Maybe there must be some way that we can actually almost like kind of change the timing a bit so it doesn't always coincide, because it was always like we rest and then there's a wandering monster check and then we're back to the next hour again. It was a bit like when we were having random encounters outside in the wilderness. I just felt it was a bit contrived. But let's keep it as it is just now, because it's just a mechanic that we're using. Maybe for another dungeon we could have a different staggering of incidents, and maybe we rest every in the middle turn of the thing, or that sort of thing, or there's a wandering monster check in the middle of the 6 turns. I suppose it's really just up to what we want as part of our experience. And then the mapping, the 20-foot by 20-foot area, that's a turn. A thorough search of the room if necessary. Now remember, we had that little thing where I was explaining if there is potential to have, I'd say, a lot of furniture in this room, or it's busy because it's got lots of maybe the debris, or there's something. It's not an empty room, put it that way. You usually have to spend another turn finding or working your way through to say, find the treasure, those items, that belt, and that those gold coins. We would have had to spend another turn. It wouldn't have been obvious that because the room was empty. And I was going to bring in a kind of mechanic to say, well, this is our opportunity to start bringing in our dungeon dressing items. So I haven't completed that, but I am aware that I would quite like to do that. And it's probably going to be like a base chance of 20%, based on the size of the room, whether we trigger this extra turns needed. And then I can start generating all those nice little things like tables and chairs and thrones and magic fountains and that sort of stuff. And then we've got resting after combat's a turn. Checking for secret doors is a round to do that. The examination of means to open a secret door takes a turn after that. To listen at a door takes a round. To search for traps on a door takes a round. Our combat move, if we have a 9-inch move, is 90 foot per round. And if we charge, we do it at double, and that's 180 foot per round. So I just thought that might be useful just to have for me, as a kind of the side, a little summary. Okay, we're back to Dormona. We are up to, we've got our treasure. I would say that process of examining the additional items, the 2 items of treasure, is maybe going to take, say, 3 plus 1 to 3 rounds to do all that. So 3 plus 6. So we do, in fact, I could just do a little number. I could do 6. So we're up to 1 turn and 6 rounds in our second hour. We are here, and this room had no exits. However, there is a chance of having secret doors. So we have to do the mechanic where we do that little test on each 10-foot bit of wall, section of wall, and it's a 1 in 5 and 20 that we have a secret door. So I think we should do that just now. And then we could do that thing with Lindris and Tristan, because one's a half-elf and one's an elf, and they have that maybe innate sense that even if they walk past a secret door, they can maybe sense it. There's a 1 in 6 chance that they sense it. So they might be alert to the fact that, we've been mapping all this thing out and we've been in this room for quite some time. And remember, they've been conversing with the hobbits too. They might be picking up on the ether that there's something going on with some of the walls. Maybe there's a few things that just don't quite look right, and they have put two and two together, and they're coming up with a resounding four. That there's no exits in this place. It's a big room. Is it just right here, just to hold a shrieker? Maybe there's, we know that this place, Dunmorna's got form when it comes to secret doors. I think there's a good chance that if we do a bit of searching, we might come up with something. It's just a hunch, says Lindris, but I think it could be worth with the payoff. So let's get our D20, and we'll start doing our check on the map. So we'll start here, and we get a 15, so there's nothing. And then we get the next one, and we get a 10, so there's nothing there. And we get here, and we get a 5, so there is a potential secret door here. Okay. There's none there. Is there one on this wall? No, there's none. In this 10-foot area, there's none. So in this 10-foot area, that is a 19. That's just a wee bit out of camera. Is this 10-foot area? No, that's a 20. Resounding no. Is this one? Yes, there is. Secret door. And is there one here? There's none there. And our final one here. No, there's none. Okay. So maybe as expected, it should be about 25%. We've picked up 2. So opposite, the shrieker was maybe in a strategic place. He was right there in the middle. Maybe Callistra, in her scheming manner that she is, she had placed the shrieker in a position where it could almost try to amplify the fact that it is trying to protect and keep away with an awful noise any interlopers into this room, and avoid them getting through the secret doors. But it's not. It's all been chopped to bits. Okay. I think the characters think, well, okay. I think we should follow Lindris's hunch that we've got a good chance of finding some sort of exit in here. I think we should follow through with that and try to find a secret door. So according to my master list, it takes 1 round for each check of a secret door. And Lindris and Tristan, and also we could have an Arian roped in to do a bit of checking himself, and he could be following on from us, or checking another wall at the same time. So this could be rather complicated. So it might be easier for just doing Tristan on this wall, Lindris on this wall, and maybe let's have an Arian on this wall. He's only got a 1 in 6 chance of finding anything, and we know that there's nothing there, but an Arian doesn't. So let's have these two starting here. So 1 round, they both check, nothing. Second round, they both check. So I'll just do a little aid memoir here on my pad, my new pad. So we've got 2 rounds that we've done, and nothing. Now they both potentially could strike gold here, and they're checking for secret doors. Now in the meantime, I've been doing all this. He's been doing this, and he's probably up to 3 as well. So he's checked, and Aaron's checked everything on that wall, and he's saying, I can't find anything. But then, I'm maybe not as well trained as you two in these arts. So let's see how well Tristan gets on in trying to locate a secret door there. So he needs a 1 or a 2 on a D6. I've got my D20 in there. That's not going to help. So he doesn't detect anything there. Okay. Lindris, does he detect his secret door? And he needs a 1 or a 2. So he doesn't either. Okay, so according to them, after 3 rounds, nothing's been found on that wall and nothing has been found on that. So they will continue up. And what an Aryan will do is he'll say, well, I'll go down here and see if I can find anything at the same time. And meanwhile, Dagobert in all this, he's got the light, and he's just making sure that everyone can see with his lantern, kind of twiddling his thumbs. Maybe there's a prayer to Bane, to say, please show us the way, show us the secret door. We want to get out of this place. We don't really want to stay around with this horrible squelchy mess. Please Bane, help us. So that is another round. So we've done 4 rounds. We do 5. And Narian's down to here. We do we kind of cross over. We do 6 there. Lindris is back down here, and Tristan is back down here, and then Narian has got down to here, and then Narian is saying, I'm not really having very much. Oh, we did have a check. Oh, sorry, I've done the Narian out of a check. On 5, he can have a 1 and 6, and he might be able to find it with his. No, he doesn't. No, so he goes on down, and then Tristan goes down, and Lindris go down, and we're up to 7. So does Lindris find a secret door on a 1 and 6, a 2 and 6? He does. Whew. Right. And at the same time, does Tristan find this door? And he has a 2 and 6 as well. He does. So after all that, we both find secret doors at the same time after seven rounds. We can actually recalculate. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we did 6, 7, 8. I think I must have. Yeah. Let's do these rounds again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and say Lindris went around. That's 6, 7. Yeah, we're up to 8. 8. So that's taken us 8 rounds, almost a turn. And if we look at our master sheet, we'd already done 6. So 4 up to that is 2, and then we're left with 4. 4 left. So we've done 2 turns in our second hour. However, we have found 2 secret doors. It is going to take. We decide which one do we want to go on. Dagobert says, well, we already know that there's a passageway going backwards 45 degrees. Where do you think? Do you think there's potentially something going to join up with that? I think that it might have better opportunity to find out what is going on if we go through that secret door there. And Lindris concurs. He says, yes, I found this. It's got a very similar mechanism to the other ones that I've been looking at. I will spend the time, the time, if you just get out your hourglass, Dagobert, and tick off another turn, another 10 minutes. I will find out how this operates, and he does. So after a turn, Linda says, yes, I've worked out how this works. Shall we prepare ourselves to go through? And they say yes. And in that case, we're going to have to adopt our positions, and we'll say that Anarian, he is good with his bow, and we'll have him ready. We will have Lindris and Tristan going to do the pushing and make sure that we can actually force it open. And then Dagobert is going to stand back a bit with his lantern, ready to just shine the light, and get Bane to show us the way. And that should be the plan that we're going to do. So we have to do. I think in this case we could say that the secret door is maybe made of heavy stone, and it might be quite difficult to push. And we haven't done it before, so we'll have Tristan with a 1 and 4, and Lindris with a 1 and 2. So let's see how they get on trying to open it. There's a hush in the room as they heave and push. And yes, Tristan, he does it. He manages to push it. It slides open, grates on the floor, and then we do our good old check of what's behind the door. So we get Appendix A out, 117, whatever it is, and we go to the doors table, and we've got space beyond the door is, and we get our D20 out. D20 out. Got too many D6s in here now. And we roll a 12 for the space beyond the door. And it is, it's another room. Go to table 5. So table 5 says all this stuff, so we get our D20 again. Now we are limited a bit by the size of where we are. We could probably go with 20 out. And we've got the end of the world syndrome. And I'm probably going to do this just for Dunmona, because I'm thinking, maybe I could have a bit of leeway on the next dungeon, and start maybe going over a bit, without the view that I'm just going to ramble off into the distance, and it's limitless. There's like an infinity dungeon. But I do think maybe this constraint is just sometimes I'm shoehorning myself into a kind of, I'm getting myself in knots a bit with it. It is quite a useful thing to have a limit. But maybe we should just go with it, particularly if I've got this periodic check limit that I'm doing. That I am going to run out of periodic checks, and I'm not going to be able to do them again. And I suppose from that instance, we'll just go back and see what are all the possibilities, and they're either going to end in dead ends, or maybe the secret door doesn't open, or something like that. I'll think of it when we get to it. So this is answering the question of what is beyond the door, and we get an 8. Oh no, this is the room shape. 8 square, 40 by 40. So I would say that has to be 20 by 20, 20 by 40. So we could do a 40 wide and a 20 deep. Yeah. And is it in sync with this, or is it staggered? So I would say let's do it. It's either going to be staggered or it's going to be in sync. So it's 1 to 3, it's in sync, and on a 4 to 6, it is staggered. So we have a staggered room. So if I just get my pencil here, and it's going to go out 20. So it's almost to the edge, and it's going to go down another 20 here, and we'll do our 20 across. And I suppose one of the things with playing, and having had quite a bit of experience now of doing this type of thing, and narrating it, and doing the mapping, and I remember one of my first episodes, I said, I don't really like this graph paper, and having to do all the, having to fill out this, just there's something about it I don't like. I might go back to graph. I might use like large graph paper of this kind of size, if I can get my hands on it, because it has been fun doing the mapping, but I just don't think it kind of maybe it served its purpose, and we could I'm getting a look at that. It's not exactly fantastic shape wise that we're doing there. So we've got a room. Next thing we do is check for exits. So we'll get our straight to our Dungeon Master's Guide. Appendix A, exits. Find out what we have to do. We will roll a d20 for the number of exits. I wonder if we'll get our secret doors, a secret door roll. We get a 2. There is, for up to 600, 1 exit. Exit location is, so at least we've got an exit this time. In black and white is an 8. So it is the left wall. So that's right, and this is left. So is it going to be what, here or here? So let's do our little dice. Yeah, it is here. So we have an exit down here. Okay. And the all-important question is chamber or room contents. Right, let's get our d20 and find out. 2, so it is empty. Okay, so I'll make a little note. What were we up to? That was 14. So this is 15. Room 15 is room 15, and it is 20. It's 40 by 20, and it is empty. It has 1 exit though. So we've discovered this room. It appears to be empty. It will take us 2 turns to map that. So we will do that one. We're up to 5. So we're into the rest. As we are mapping the last one, we need to rest. So we won't be able to complete the mapping of it. We will have to do a rest. So that will be there. We will carry 4 into the next hour. And also, as we are doing our resting, we get our Wandering Monster check. So it's a 1 in 10. Let's get our 1 in 10. So we get, ooh, it's very close, a 2. So so we do another hour. That's 2 hours, and we'll carry 4 over. We're up to 11:30. We complete our mapping. It takes us maybe about another, yeah, that will take us maybe about another, I think it was 4. So what was that? That was 7. I think we're just going to be about another 4 on, so 8 to finish. We complete all our mapping. We have a door down here. We're tempted just to, we've been listening in the past, and it hasn't really done anything. I think we were just deciding, time is marching on. We've got 4 of us now. We've got a strategy for taking on these doors. We've got a Narian with his bow ready to fire at anything that comes at us. We feel confident to just go for it. So we get our dice, we get the Lindris dice, we get the Tristan dice. They're going to shove away on this door, and we're going to see what is behind it, by hook or by crook. So what we're going to get. Tristan manages to do it just with his amazing strength. This is very useful, having a very high strength, isn't it? Door pushes open. We do the check of what is beyond the door. We haven't done a periodic check for a long time, but let's roll and see what is beyond the door. So we roll a 3, and according to Appendix A, beyond the door on a 3 is a parallel passage, or 10 by 10 room if door is straight ahead. Okay. And a parallel passage extends 30 feet in both directions. Okay, understood. Now, it can't. So, It can't extend 30 feet that way. It could extend 30 feet that way. Or is it, are we going to make it a 10 by 10 room? I tell you what, it does say in this, it says parallel passage or 10 by 10 room if door is straight ahead. So I was saying we can't really do a parallel passage, or if we can only do it one way. So that could be an option. And then the 10 by 10 room is mentioned here. I think we could maybe do a 50-50. Yeah, let's do a 50-50. So 1 to 3, the parallel passage kicks back along here, and on a 4 to 6, it's a 10 by 10 room. Okay, let's do that. I like that resolution. What did I say? 4 to 6. That's going to be the 10 by 10 room. Yes, because the 1 to 3 was the parallel passage, and the 4 to 6 was the 10 by 10 room. I'm sure I said it that way. I think I'm just getting a bit carried away with it. So we have a 10 by 10 room here, which is tiny. It's tiny. It's not going to take Linda's. It's going to take Linda's a fraction of the time to do it. A quarter of a turn to do this little thing. But what's in here? We do our usual. We do have to do a check of number of exits. So we'll do our check on that. 17. 17 says any size. 1d4 exits. Oh dear. So this is this is turned into one of these funny little rooms. Okay, we'll go along with it. This is Appendix A in all its glory. We have 4 exits, so we can't have 4 exits. So I would say there's a door. Well, there can't be a door there because that's going into nowhere. So let's just say there are 2 doors. There's one here and one here. Okay, great. So, you know, by hook or by crook, we've got this little room. Is there anything in it? You know, that would be I suppose that is the interesting thing. Room contents. 16. 16 is a monster and treasure. Would you believe it? Now, to rationalize this, you would have to say, if there is a monster here, it's either going to be something that's been there for a long time, and it can, you know, maybe it's undead or something, and it can stay in these, you know, it's not animated. Or if it is a living creature, like say an orc or something, maybe they are just part of a patrol, and they're here, and they're maybe just going through the dungeon and trying to discover it. We'll have to come up with a rationale. Yeah, I'm jumping ahead of myself a wee bit. Okay, so I'm just looking at the time. Yeah, let's determine what this thing is, and then we'll call it a day for this session. I don't want to be thinking, oh, I haven't worked out what this thing is. So we're on dungeon level 1. We'll get our dice. We'll find out what level of monster that we're dealing with. We are dealing with a 2, so that's a level 1 monster. We'll get our percentage dice out. We will find out exactly what we are facing on this table, which is being well utilized. It's generated a lot of interesting stuff already, so let's see what it does this time. So we get an 84, and you know what an 84 is? A rock grub. 1 to 3. 1 to 3 rock grubs. So we'll quickly look at what the rock grub's all about. Is that the one with the horrible picture? In fact, I was even thinking of putting that up as one of my thumbnails for the videos. The one that does, it's coming out of his arm, and it's all these horrible grubs. I think it is actually. I think that's this could be really horrible. Now, this probably actually makes sense because, and I might have to be quite careful in how I play this, because it looks, I think rock grubs are kind of almost like there as a trap. Yes, it is. Look at that. Wow. Isn't that amazing? That horrible thing coming out of his arms. And he's got his face. I think that's what we're going to look like when we go in here. Rock grub. Um, Rock grubs are occasionally found in heaps of offal or dung. They are rarely found in ceilings, walls, or floors. These small creatures will viciously burrow into any living flesh which touches them, for they greatly enjoy such fare to dine upon. The victim must immediately apply flame to the wound, 1 to 6 hit points damage per application, or have cure disease spell cast upon him. Otherwise, the rock grubs will burrow to the heart and kill the host in 1 to 3 turns. Oh my goodness. Okay. That's absolutely awful. What a way to finish. However, you've got to touch them. And maybe they're supposed to be in heaps of offal and dung. Maybe the smell is going to be so overpowering in this tiny little room that they just go, ugh, that's horrible, and they kind of back away. But I'm jumping the gun there. We'll work out the rationale and what they do with these rock grubs. Or they don't know there's rock grubs there just now. They just smell this awful smell. And think, oh, this a tiny little room. Is this like a latrine or something, or a toilet? Is this where Callistra went, to the toilet? This is disgusting. I think we're just going to leave it there, and join our characters and see how they do. How would you deal with a rock grub? You can send in some comments and say, what is the perceived strategy that we do? It sounds like the fire thing on the arm sounds a bit extreme, because that would probably kill Dagobah if you had to put some fire. You might kill him with a 1 to 6 roll. And it would really kind of do a bit of dent to Lindris, and Tristan maybe could take it, and definitely an Arian, but I think we would be struggling. Okay, well, that was quite an interesting way to finish. Well, thanks for joining me with that, and I'll see you next time.